confuse the situation in my judgment.
And too much production.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't insane. The critics who hailed it were insane.
It was a big hit on Broadway after that, so you know. Other comments?
Yeah, anybody else?
I was going to suggest that, not that maybe your experience, because of your scholarly wisdom with language, is too intellectual as you sit through one of the plays. I mean, it's a lot of what it is vibration. You're hearing in the voice, and that's you can have an emotional response to the words without fully understanding them. So, as he said, if the actor is doing their job and hitting the ends of the words where a lot of the communication is being made at the end of the lines, and you're letting those like wash into you as you breathe them into without trying to intellectualize them, I'm sure you'll understand a lot more of the play than what you would do if you just sit down and try as you read it, which is much more, well,
that's interesting. Yeah, that's what I'm missing.
You might have done bad production or bad actors or whatever, but you don't, I think you can understand a lot of the stuff if you don't try to intellectualize it and just let it kind of pull into you. As opposed to when you sit down and read it, where it's a different experience.
Different
As opposed
activity.
to experiencing the art, right, then you're reading it, and it's much more intellectual experience.
Got time for one more question.
I just would say it's a sort of a slippery slope what you're suggesting because, and perhaps this has already been written and I don't know, but say some young writer is in New Orleans right now, some young black writer, and wants to write about the experience of Katrina, and is going to write in the language of their culture and their people. I'm a teacher and I have a student who's from New Orleans, and when she first came in, I'll admit it, I literally couldn't understand what she was saying. Her accent was so thick. So say he or she writes this incredible play. I would venture to say that almost all of us would go to see that play and we wouldn't know the slang, we wouldn't understand the accent, but if it was well directed and well put on, we might really get, oh my God, that was a horrible thing that happened there. So I just feel like it's a slippery slope to say all theater must be comprehensible. No. Because comprehensible to who? To intelligent, it's just, that's my issue with this, that when you're, and I do think that, you bring a certain,
Pointy-headed.
your vast intellect, which is your gift, is also your burden when you go to see theater because you want to get it. So do I. That's why I drive directors crazy, because I want everything to make so much sense.
I just wanted, I'm an actress, but I'm also a jazz singer. And I think that I'm doing a show called Ella by Ella Fitzgerald. And we're doing all of her scats note for note. People who haven't experienced jazz music or scat, if they tried to break down what it is she's singing, because she's a genius, they would be like, that doesn't make any sense. What is that about? But because she delivers it with such, listen to me, she does it with that, this is what I want to talk to you about. People get it. They get it. And they don't have to read the notes, they don't have to be musically involved to that degree like musicians are, but they get it.
Or understand the words.
And understand the words, because she's using syllables and, consonants, and that's it.
I think that's a great note to end on. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. I want to give so much thanks to Dory.